Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so you've learned how to create really cool animations inside of After Effects, and you understand the basics of adding some keyframes and creating some basic animations. If you guys remember correctly, the first thing we learned after animating inside of Premiere Pro is how we make advanced animations. And that's the first thing I'm going to teach you inside of After Effects as well. To create advanced animations, we're going to be using our graph tool. And the graph tool simply allows us to compare two different values and use them to achieve certain results. The main problem with basic animations, like the ones which we just created, is they are robotic. They go at a constant speed the whole time. And the best way to make them more realistic is to have them go at different speeds. Maybe start quick and then slow down. Or maybe start slow and then speed up. Or maybe start slow, speed up, and then slow down. And we could do this using our graph editor. And this is exactly what we're going to be covering in this specific episode. There are two kinds of graphs inside of After Effects. There is the speed graph and the value graph. The speed graph determines the speed at which your object is moving. So obviously our first keyframe is set to a position, our second keyframe is set to a position. There's a velocity in between, and the velocity is currently constant. We could use the speed graph to alter that and make it faster and make it smoother and make it much better. And the value graph works a bit differently, which you guys are going to be uncovering in another course. So this being said, let's dive right into the speed graph. So I'm over here back inside of my same project, and I'm just going to select basically one of these layers and click on Control A, which is going to select all the layers. And I'm going to click on U to hide all of my keyframes. Let's get to work on our first one over here. So this first shape layer over here, we've basically got a keyframe for the current position that moves from left to right. The problem is, since the animation starts right here, everything before this, its velocity is 0. And then as soon as we get into here, the velocity goes up to however fast it is, and it's a constant, so it moves at a constant speed and then snaps back to 0. There's no smooth entry, smooth exit, there's none of that stuff. So how do we do this inside of After Effects? Well, all you have to do is select both of these keyframes and click on your graph editor. And this is what you're going to get. Yes, looks a bit confusing. I'll break this down for you. Okay. But if you don't have the speed graph and you're facing any issues, you can right click and select edit speed graph. I'm going to actually place this at the beginning of the course. Sorry that I forgot to mention this. Just whenever you don't have access to the speed graph and you notice like this is, let's say this is what your graph looks like, then just right click and click on edit speed graph. That's how you're going to get the speed graph, okay? The first thing you need to understand is that the graph editor, there are two kinds, speed and value. Speed showcases the speed of your object, which makes sense. This little knob over here, by the way, you can hold down Alt and scroll if you want to zoom in. It works the exact same way as a timeline. This little knob over here is our first keyframe. The speed before this, which is before the first keyframe, is obviously 0 because there's no animation happening. As soon as our animation starts, by default, After Effects set the speed to what it's required to be. This is our first keyframe and this is our second keyframe. And the speed in between is a constant. As soon as the second keyframe is done, the speed is back to 0. So how high this line is the speed. And you guys can see before the animation, it starts really low, which is why the speed is 0. That over here is the word 0, right? That's the number 0. As we go up here, the speed you guys can see is 450 pixels per second. So it jumps from 0 to 450 pixels per second, which is not how we make smooth animations at all. So After Effects has given us a very special tool called, I think it's called keyframe interpolation. And what keyframe interpolation does is it automatically smoothens out an animation for us, but it doesn't do it as good as we want. Here's how you use the basic keyframe interpolation tool. All you have to do is select both of these keyframes and right click, go to keyframe assistant, and you could select between easy ease in, and easy ease out. What's the difference? Let's go ahead and analyze it. If we select it one more time and go into our graph editor, if we select both of these, right click, keyframe assistant, and easy ease, you see all of a sudden the curve is a bell curve. So what this means is we're starting at 0, and then instead of jumping up to 450, we're slowly building up from 0, and then we're going to go to a peak and then slow back down. And you guys might think this is smooth. Sure, this is smoother as you guys can see compared to the bottom one. However, it's not as smooth as we'd like. Since we want to take our animations to the best possible level, we want to make the best possible animations, we can't just settle for a basic velocity keyframe. So instead, it provides us with two other solutions. The second solution is easy ease in. And if we right click and we use this, you guys can notice that didn't make a difference. But what it's supposed to do is it easy eases it, which means it makes it smoother, but it focuses the movement at the beginning. And the easy ease out does the exact opposite. It focuses the movement on the outside. So I'm not sure why both of these aren't working. That's pretty interesting. Ah, yeah, there it is. So it starts the movement quickly and then slows it down. That's easy ease in. And then if we go ahead and do this to easy ease out, so select both of them, right click and easy ease out, it does the exact opposite. So this being said, how do we make this movement smoother? Well, let's take the exact same knowledge from Premiere Pro. There are three kinds of spikes that we can use. We can either start quick and then slow down our movement, or we can start slow and then end it with a quick movement, or we can start slow, have it peak in the middle, and then slow it down. Everything depends on where you place your spike. The thing is, we don't want this value to jump up to 450. So for that reason, I drop it down to 0, okay? Which is logical. We're all on the same page, right? We don't want it to go from 0 to 450, so I'm going to drop it down to 0. So it starts at 0 and then ends at 450. At the same time, I don't want this end value to be at 450 and then end at 0. That's not a smooth exit. So I'm also going to drop this. Now what happens when you do this, just some annoying things. What happens when you do this is now you've created your easy ease keyframe. Now you've created that bell curve, right? You don't want it to start at 450, so it starts at 0, it builds up to 450, but you also don't want it to end at 450, so it starts at 450 and builds down to 0. Now instead, this is how we do things differently. We basically don't want the entry to be this harsh because right now it's going from 0, boom, instantly 450. Instead, here you go. Go watch it in real time, right? It's going from 0 instantly to 450. Instead, we bring the slider out like this because we want that entry to be smooth. We want that entry to be slowly build up to 450. And this results in a spike at the end, which means the entry is going to be smooth, but the exit's now going to be harsh. And so if we go ahead and check this out, take a look at this, slow entry. I'm going to go ahead and make the second layer invisible just so you guys can see everything that I'm doing over here. There you go. You guys can see it, right? Slow entry and then quick exit. Now that's the thing with the spike at the end, right? You guys remember this from Premiere Pro. This is how we make a slow entry and a quick exit. Let's say we wanted to do it the other way around. Let's say I still wanted it to, let's say I still wanted it to start fast, right? But I wanted it to end slow. Well, here's the exact opposite. It's starting fast. I'm going to take my slider at the end and end it slowly, which means the ending slowly slows down and smoothens down into the 0. Notice it's not a rough cut into the 0. It's a smoothing down into it. Now the spike is at the beginning, which means the movement has to start quickly to accommodate for this movement. And this is what it looks like, right? So this is kind of like that toss quickly and then it's slowing down. And what if we had the spike in the middle? Well, we could select this one and also speed it up in the middle. Obviously this thing is going to have to go higher. Now it's at 4,500 pixels because you're shrinking the amount of space it has to move. And there we go. It's boom, gonna snap past like that. So those are our three kind of graphs. So let's go ahead and do this to our second animation. Right? The same exact concept. We're going to click on new. We're going to select this. We're going to head over to our speed graph and we're going to select both of these. And here's exactly how I always do this. I always start by selecting both of my keyframes. And whenever I want to smoothen them out, I think of it like this. It's going from 0 to 450. So the first thing I do is I click on F9. F9 is the shortcut for the easy ease function, which we just learned, which is that bell curve. So I always click on F9. It smooths it out, right? It's not good enough, but it smooths it out. And for this one, let's say I wanted to start quick and then slow down. I'm going to start by moving my slider over here, prepping it like so. And I'm just going to move my second slider all the way back. I want to make this exit as smooth as possible. You could see it's not super smooth, like it goes down and then it instantly flattens out, which is not the smoothest, but it's still going to be good enough. So there we go. We have a nice build up, and that is how you make some cool velocity keyframes. This being said, let's go ahead and do this to the others as well. So let's say we wanted to do this to the scale properties too. Let's click on new. How do we do this? Well, first let's select this first set over here, click on the graph editor. And if you are struggling to get access or click on any of the sliders, that's also a common issue. Just feel free to select both of your layers and click on this button over here. That's just going to flatten everything out. And then you can click on F9 and you'll be able to have all of your sliders again. So this being said, we want to make sure that we're using our edit speed graph, okay? Now, with this being said, let's go ahead and do this to this one over here. I'm also going to select both of these and click on F9. So we have a smooth entry and smooth exit, and I'm just going to move these like so to the center. So we have smooth entry and smooth exit. So boom, something like that. Now with the other one, I'm going to actually have it start slow and then end fast. So let's select it, click on F9, have it start slow like this, and then just end fast like that. Bam. There we go, nice and simple. And for the last one, which is a rotation, I'm selecting both of them, and you can actually do something pretty cool in After Effects. You could select both sets of keyframes and edit them at the same time. We can actually select both of these and head over to the graph editor, and you could see both those keyframes, right? You could see keyframe 1, which is this one over here. It's the rotation, and you could see this one as well. So we're going to go ahead and select both of them, and we're going to select both, and we're going to click on F9, and you see both of these curves, and we're going to just start them off quickly and then slow them down, like so. Okay, this way they both start quickly and slow them down. Optionally, you guys could do this individually. Let's say you selected one of them, just select it, F9, move that back, slide it back, select the first one, F9, and actually let's make this one start slow and then end fast. There we go. Nice and simple. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how you use the speed graph. You guys can see we get smooth movement animations, we get smooth scale in animations, then we get smooth rotation animations. Now we're going to be practicing this a lot, okay? We're going to be using the speed graph a lot to get very, very specific animations. And this is the one where we're going to be spending most of our time in. We're not going to use the value graph. We're barely ever going to use it. I personally no longer use it anymore. So instead, I want you guys to get really, really good at the speed graph. And since it's the one that you guys are familiar with from Premiere Pro, it's going to make animating for you so much easier. But this being said, there's also a second type of graph that we need to learn, which is the value graph. So with all that being said, let's dive right into the next course where we're going to be covering how we can use the value graph inside of After Effects. I'll see you guys there.